All right, cool. So we're live with Sappy Seals inside the Sandbox. And we're going to wait for a few more people to join in. Sure, we get some viewers before we ask the important questions. You can watch us jump around for now.
All right. I'm going to share this link out. Let's go ahead and share the Twitch out.
We should be doing that with the Sappy Seals community as we speak as well. I've got somebody on that, so.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right.
There's like one question that I've wondered about the Sappy Seal community, man. Like, how is it so strong? And I'm not just talking Twitter. I'm not like the Twitter engagement is high, but the Discord is always active, and I feel like the community members, they really love their project and they believe in you guys. Like, so how did you make that happen?
Should I speak to that, Cass? Or you got it.
Yeah, please go ahead, brother.
Okay, I think there's two main elements. One has got to be the mastermind, the Seal Father himself, like Wab. Really behind the scenes, he does the Twitter. He's big on everything. He just knows how it works somehow. He's magic with it. There's no way I could step up and do even like 1/10 of the job he's done in terms of building the community. And then the second part, I think, is that the Seals is a really accessible space, and then people really are looking for a community. It's not like we had to kind of work, like obviously you have to do well to keep within your own values and keep everything clean and fun and build the atmosphere. But people come because people are looking for communities like this. And that's really been one of the surprising and wonderful things about all of this for me, is to see that the organic, like how organically everything just builds up over time.
We haven't spent a dime on marketing up to this point, and we don't think we need to. It's all about organic growth. It's all about community first. And a lot of this was kind of developed through some pretty tough times in the project. And most projects tend to just die out when they hit just below a 0.01 floor, like we did after the launch. And I mean, we're dead serious about this. We're not just a PFP project. We believe that we're doing something like long-term, it's innovative and important. And when people saw us continuing to press, continuing to work our asses off, when, can I say that? To work hard, even when we were hitting a 0.01 floor, we just stay grinding, stay focused, and then we have an incredible project, kind of we call him like our Project Jesus, and Wob, he's just in it every day. So I think it comes from a really organic place. All of us are absolutely committed to this. We're committed to the community. Like we're here, whether it's a 0.01 floor or wherever we are. And I think that just kind of naturally extends out to the community over time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because like me personally, I am part of the Axie community, but at the same time, I'm always looking for more communities to join into. And after I bought the Sappy Seal, at first it was just a money play. I'm like, this could be a good flip. But then after talking to the Seals on Twitter and Discord, I just felt bad. I'm like, I cannot sell my Seal. I'm gonna keep this for the longest time. So I bought two more. To flip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold one long term. So yeah, I think like
I love to hear that.
Like people might come for the money, but then like they'll stay for the community. So
bingo.
Totally, and the community's not going anywhere.
Yep, it's the three pillars of the Sappy Seals in our Pixelverse. It's community first, which is why we're about coordinating NFT communities across the entire space. We don't believe that it's just the Sappy Seals or just the Winter Bears. We believe that we're one. There's individual tribes and communities, but as one large NFT community conglomerate, we're better for it. And so I love to hear that.
Yeah. So like, can you touch about your about your partnership with the Winter Bears? Like, what are you guys up to?
Yeah. So we're forming the first kind of very informal, decentralized alliance in the Pixelverse. Decentralized in that we're not all teaming up. We don't believe in, a formal alliance. And then.
Oh, do we?
Oh, Cass's infamous bad internet is kicking in potentially. I'm sure he'll be back soon.
All right. Well, for everybody that's tuning in, we are doing a giveaway on Twitter, so definitely check out the tweet from the SandStorm. Just have to follow Sappy Seals and follow the SandStorm, and then a couple of other details on there, but definitely do that. Let's go ahead and drop that in the chat. Can Wolf, if you are out there, I believe you are, I saw you in the chat, drop that link for all the seals out there, all the seals.
Oh, you're back,
Cast back.
Am I back? Okay, good. So yeah, essentially we're forming, an informal decentralized NFT alliance. So the Winter Bears and 24px communities are our first founding partners in the Pixelverse, which is an NFT specific metaverse expansion, 2D and 3D with a play and earn game at the center.
Okay. Cool.
So Winter Bears has the art DAO kind of side of things. They're not so much in the gamification, which is perfect. We're looking for communities that aren't just adding the same flavor that we bring. So we're all about gamification. 24px is about innovating and just kind of weird shit. And Winter Bears is about art. And we believe, all of these differing perspectives makes the metaverse an experience rather than just a game or. So that's kind of how we view our partners. They're really, really important.
Was there a specific reason you chose the pixel graphics? Because I know the NFT community, we really love the pixel graphics. So is that one of the reasons why you did it?
Yeah, we love pixel. Like that's just it.
Yeah.
And it fits like in that kind of old 2D MMO kind of thing we all grew up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other element of it is it's really accessible. So if we're onboarding communities, you don't need to have a high-powered budget to get involved. You can get pixel sprites that represent like your identity. It's quite easy to brand expand in that way. So it's like kind of everyone get in. It's a nice way to get that in on that level.
Yeah. So like, how did the project start? Any background story?
So it's a PFP project first and foremost. And then Wob and I started talking, before the launch, and I just started kind of positing to him that we could take this somewhere much, much bigger. I come from the VC space. I actually gave up an NFT incubator kind of managing partner position with a VC to be here, and that was kind of my pitch to him. Was like, hey man, we can be on the building side of this. We can innovate. We can be first movers in this space and take this into something much, much bigger than just some PFP project or any number of coloring books that people are developing or even these cash grabs you see everywhere. And that was kind of my pitch to him pre-launch. Him and I are the only two founders that are still left on the team from the original Sappy Seals founding team. We consider the Pixelverse founding team kind of a separate decentralized organization from the Sappy Seals. But that's kind of the birthing of the Pixelverse, was me and Wob just sitting in there and thinking like, we really have something here. We have an awesome community and let's take this to that next level.
Cool. Awesome. Like, who did the artwork and the designs?
It's a semi-anonymous artist. His name's Fade. Don't wreck him on Twitter if you guys get this. Don't blow up his DMs too much. But he's a great dude. He's actually a friend of Wob's. IRL, but yeah.
Okay, so semi-anonymous. We cannot talk about him. Do not follow him on Twitter.
I mean, you can. I'm just not trying to blow him up. He's not somebody that wants to, get at the forefront of this, and that's cool.
Right. Cool. So, like, do you guys already have an idea of what you'd like to build inside the sandbox, or is that something that's so far away that the thought hasn't even crossed your mind? You do?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've been envisioning this for since the beginning. So in my mind, it's really important that we're bringing our 2D and 3D metaverse I want you to be able to take your NFTs from the 2D into your voxel, et cetera, and back and forth. And so for sure, I'd like to involve our play and earn game at the center that Effie can speak on more. He's our lead game design. Awesome. One of two lead game designers. So I definitely want to see that backwards compatibility with the play and earn. I want to have the playerverse environment kind of quests and training modules in the open world in 2D, as well as the open world in 3D. I'm just excited because they're both, the tech stacks give us different options and customizability. but that's most important to me, is that you're not differentiating between the open world and Pixelverse 2D or the open world and Pixelverse 3D. It's just that the tech stack makes different things, different options available.
Okay. Okay. So are you building like an actual open world MMO, or what's the game going to be like?
Yeah, Effie, do you want to kind of run through that?
So I can run you. So as much as possible, we want to have the 2D and 3D mirroring each other. And in 2D, what we're working towards is like an open world Pokemon style MMO. So we looked at that. We looked at kind of the projects that were going around in the space. Pokemon and NFTs is already something that's popped into a lot of people's minds, having sort of tradable assets and pets. But then we realized that there's a lot you can do with that system that's not been done before, and there's never really been a successful Pokemon MMO that we like ever really, with like in-game battling and trading and breeding and all of those mechanics fleshed out to the level of complexity that people in the NFT space and crypto space really like to dig their teeth into. So we'd want to pull that over, but something else that we're doing with the Pixelverse is, as well as having this kind of flagship pet battling game at the center of it, it's going to be full of mini games essentially.
Okay.
We also have plenty of mechanics. It's open world. That is a core feature, but we've already got things like arcade cabinets that you can play games on, like ideas in that vein. So this I got quite inspired. The moment I got my hands on the game maker that you're streaming right now, I realized that, like, oh my goodness, like the engine you're working with, it feels snappy, it feels responsive. There's quite a lot you could do with this, like further on down the line, deving in new mechanics to it. So I thought, like, oh my god, like my first reaction was, I want to build an arena PvP battler in this, and then skin it according to the like our art theme, and then have that tied into the token ecosystem with the Pixelverse as well. So there's definitely room for like completely new ideas to exist in the 3D branch where the tech stack works for it.
Which is where our partnerships come in. I am very interested, and we've got a lot of DMs and conversations with other NFT communities, and I want them to bring their ideas and their unique view of the metaverse into the 3D space as well. So for instance, Winter Bears, they're very art focused. I love that. And so, in 2D, there's some limited optionalities with the art side of things, which is why, the 2D and 3D working together is so important. Because so imagine, they're doing the PyDAO decentralized art portfolio, right? So imagine an art gallery inside of the 3D space that you couldn't do in 2D because of the limited tech stack. So you'd go in and you'd be able to view a weekly changing portfolio of NFTs attached to the Winter Bears, and they could create all sorts of things around that, live auctions, all sorts of cool stuff.
This is very deep.
Yeah. We don't know where this is going to evolve, but I'm mostly focused on building the user base. It's not just the seals. It's not just the Winter Bears. It's not just 24px. It's not just half a dozen other projects I can mention we're talking to. All of us coming together, we're going to create that space with the depth of experience that the metaverse deserves. It's not going to be Grand Theft Auto where it's just one developer. You walk in, all the buildings are just one dimensional. It's, my view, dozens and dozens of communities coming in and developing the Pixelverse in whatever way the individual communities, are leaning. Their lore should be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a large part of our design philosophy, including within the sandbox, is that we want to have this large user base that allows people to come in and build what they want. But the focus of the world is these well-designed and well-thought-out set pieces that we or different communities have really poured their heart into building this out to the level where it's really compelling. Yes.
And with ourselves acting as something of an incubator, because we honestly have the firepower that a lot of these NFT communities, need. That I'm not saying these other NFT communities don't have badass teams, but we have, like, there's 8 of us full time now. We have lead game designers. We have lead tech with significant experience and expertise in every field that they come from. So we're developing kind of a powerhouse that we envision being able to not just bring the seals into the metaverse, but also assist in bringing any other NFT community that wants to come into the metaverse alongside us, utilizing all of our resources.
Cool. That's awesome. That's a very long-term plan. So, I love that.
Years. Yes. Yeah. We're going to be here building for years. This is awesome. For sure. Yeah,
that's the way it should be anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you said that, I'm guessing in these games your seals will be your avatars. I'm guessing you're not going to be going out catching seals and battling them
No.
against each other.
No,
No.
Effie, you could probably touch on the difference
Yeah.
between the
We looked at that at the beginning, but we moved over. We think this is one of the reasons why the pet-based modeling, like a Pokemon style, works better, because you can have that distance between, your pets are what do the battling, as opposed to your seal, your pick seal. And we have, I think it's already announced on our roadmap. I'm not sure the date exactly, Cass. You might have it off the top of your head, but we have the Genesis Pets launch. The mint for that's on our roadmap already, so that will be the art for that will be released by then. Mid-December
is the mint.
We'll have art out for that, and that will be what you're sort of battling with to a certain extent. If it's like a skiing mini game or something, like your seal will be able to do some of it, but it'll probably be another layer like down in terms of avatars, pets, and things like that.
Especially battling, we envision the avatar as being your playable character and a collaborative element within the Pixelverse. If we're sitting there and fighting each other, then that kind of goes against the heart of the Pixelverse from the start. So that's why we think it's important to create a pet, a companion that follows you, from 2D to 3D and back and forth, and they do your kind of fighting and battling and the end gamification. But everybody else, we're all on the same team in my mind. The Pixiels, the Pixel Bears, 24PX collection, and anybody else that comes through.
I think within the sandbox especially, it's much more reasonable to have, say, like a penguin or a seal or a bear avatar with a sword battling out in that way, or playing a game. I think that works much more in the sandbox than it would in the pixel environment because of difficult animations and whatnot.
Cool. Could you talk a little bit more about the Genesis Pets? Like, will it be another 10K collection, or will the current seal holders have any benefits, like whitelist bots, anything like that?
I'll let you take that one, Cass. Don't want to leak anything back.
So I just got back online. Online. My internet's, how it is.
You had a question?
Did somebody have a question for me? I just got back online.
Yeah. So how will the Genesis Pets work to drop? Will it be another 10K collection, or will the Sappy seal holders have any benefits like whitelist bots?
Pixelverse. The Genesis Pets that are attached to the play and earn, not play to earn in our minds. You play first, earn second. It's play and earn for us. So the Genesis Pets are a Pixelverse asset. I don't know what you want to call it. Not a Sappy Seals asset. We intend to give real value back to these base founding communities. So we're hoping to create some sort of a discount for the Genesis Pets Mint for the founding communities. But I don't want anybody coming in and having any misconception that this is the Winter Bears Pixelverse or the Seals Pixelverse or anything like that. So it'll be an open mint. Anybody can come in and participate. There'll likely be a pixel discount, which is the base layer token for Pixelverse, just launched yesterday. But that's about it. There'll be maybe a few whitelist spots available to the founding communities, but we're not looking to do 50% of the mint whitelisted. Nothing like that. There's no like best friend deals behind the scenes going on here. So, at most we want to have maybe 25% of the whitelist locked up just for those founding communities. Maybe a discount for the pixel token holders. You can buy it off secondary, or you can stake a seal. Maybe stake a winter bear in the future, depending on how they go with that. And then from there, it's not a 10K collection. It's mostly around the base elements that will be at the core of the play and earn gameplay. I don't know if we want to go into exactly what those elements are, some of those details so much yet. I'll let Effie kind of speak a little bit more on that if he wants to. But it'll probably be around a 6K for the Genesis Pets collection, somewhere around there. We want to make sure that there's enough of each element, but we're not trying to flood the Pixelverse with 50,000 of these Genesis Pets.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, there's a question in the chat. Stake your seals. You talked about staking.
Yeah, we just
Staking is
launched
live.
that last night. Yeah, it just went live. We did a stealth launch. We're kind of hoping, we like to do some of these things in modules so we can stress test them without the whole of CT on our backs. So we had a stealth launch last night, Sunday launch on purpose. It went really well. We've got some things obviously we need to iron out. We're doing that now. Website will be live probably tomorrow. Marketplace will be live within a few days. For the first generation Pixelverse NFTs, there'll be productive assets, in-home, furniture items, all the way to a Pixelverse Founders Pass that'll be available. So launching went live last night. It went really well. You can stake your seal right now. We're actually the first Rarity-based staking contract that we know of. So we put a lot of work into that, and we're really proud of being able to offer that to our community. But essentially, you're pre-mining the Pixelverse token by being a founding community. And in the future, 24px has some plans to try and implement some of that staking for the Pixel, but there's still a lot of work going on behind the scenes for those guys, the Winter Bears and 24px. So I won't make any guarantees, but there is conversations and trying to see how that could work out.
Could you expand a little bit more on how the rarity-based staking works? Because not a lot of people might know how that works.
Yeah,
I can go into that.
Please.
So basically, what we have is a few separate bands. If we've been on like Rarity Tools, some of the seals, or the way that most PFP projects work is you have sets of traits. Some traits are more rare than others, and then you can take like a weighted average of all those trait rarities, and then the seal itself can be like a certain rarity value. And basically, we have bands of rarity. And if your seal's of a certain rarity like value, you earn more pixel token after you stake it. So I think our bands are like for a floor seal up to like from 10,000 to 4,000, like you get 50. But if it's slightly more rare, you can get 60, all the way up to I think it's like 5 or 10 and X. If you have like a 1 of 1, which are the rarest seals, top 29 seals. But in terms of like how it actually works, we've developed an on-chain storage method for basically mapping our seals to a rarity band. So all that rarity data lives on-chain, which is expensive. But we did it this way so that we take the brunt of the gas cost, and users can easily, because staking is already expensive. And claiming rewards is already expensive. Gas is expensive, and ETH is at an all-time high. So we want to use the treasury to, serve as the catalyst for people to stake and to earn, so it doesn't fall on the user. So I mean, it was, I don't want to throw out numbers, but it was a good chunk of money to start developing this. But we feel it's worth it. But to that point, we have it in our article that we're not going to actually update the rarity bands until gas lowers, which is fine, because so long as people don't, if they wait to claim their rewards until after we've updated the rarity bands, they'll get the full benefit of the rarity-based staking. But with gas this high, we're giving a little bit of a leeway for actually updating the on-chain data.
Cool. Should be about a week, right, Gunga?
I think hopefully. I think gas was like at 70 a few days ago. It's going higher again, but I think it's trending downwards with the ship dump happening and all that other stuff.
Yeah, Gunga's our lead technical advisor as well. He's got a lot of experience and is actually lead software engineer at another major Fortune 500 company. So he's on point.
That's awesome. Cool.
To add, we are going layer 2. Almost certainly a true layer 2, Optimism, Arbitrum, or Starkware. We're looking at IX right now, or Mutable X as one option, because we're going to have a lot of on-chain transactions with our play and earn and with all the NFTs available for Pixelverse, and we don't want people paying layer 1 prices for these kinds of in-game actions. So we are dead set on going layer 2, a true layer 2.
Cool. Yeah, Immutable X seems really, really cool. I think the main thing that's like stopping us is making sure that we could use Pixel within the IMX marketplace. I think we're going to have a little bit of work for onboarding our utility token for their ecosystem. But if we can do that, like, gosh, it's going to be nuts. Like, native Pixel purchases, no gas, cheap neutral carbon footprint, which is what we're all about.
Yes.
Like, it's really, really exciting, the stuff that's happening on Immutable X.
Yeah.
True layer 2 security. Like,
Yeah.
it's awesome. And it's zero
And-
carbon footprint. I'll say that again. That's awesome. And that's
And
what the gaming space needs.
For me, a huge thing is it's still ETH mainnet. So the other thing that we were trying to think about was Polygon on Matic network sidechain. But everyone's on ETH right now. Our whole user base is all on ETH. I think people want to stay on ETH mainnet. So the fact that we can do IMX all within their environment on the mainnet L2 is really, really attractive.
Not just that, but they've raised the minimum GUI for Polygon. I heard it's 30
Right.
GUI now. So like a lot of these projects launching on Polygon for their gamification are going to run into some serious headwinds. Not just that, it's a side chain. It doesn't have the real security of the ETH mainnet, which is important to us.
Okay, that's cool. So it sounds like the pixel tokens, they'll have utility inside the Pixelverse, and right now the only way to earn them is by staking your seal.
Correct.
Cool.
Yep. And we will be talking to other founding NFT communities, and we're very open to allowing them to pre-mine Pixel as well. It's just there's a lot of nuance behind LPing and a lot of the commitments and things that need ironed out before we jump into those kinds of things. But we are very open to sharing the benefits of the Pixelverse with every NFT community that wants to jump in.
Cool, that's awesome. So like, are there any examples of what utility the pixel tokens will have?
Oh, so much. We have so much planned. I mean, it really is going to be a true utility token. I don't know if any of you guys want to jump in the convo. Always, just interject.
From a game design perspective, something that you could get from that angle immediately is you can think of it like an MMO currency. So it's you're pre-mining the currency to play an MMO with it. And the MMO is going to be a Pokemon MMO. So any kind of transactions you can imagine from that kind of game, they may be linked directly to Pixel. So I think something we've talked about already is there'll be battling. There'll be lots of transactions associated with that. We've also talked, everyone who's asked about the game has asked about breeding. And that is currently, I don't think I'm leaking anything by saying that's on the books, big time. And those will all be, so your pets will also be NFTs that upgrade in that way. So I don't know, I think Cassie can take it from there. Sorry, I've got quite a bad cold.
Cassie,
Yeah,
my internet was just lagging, so I didn't hear any of that. But I'll keep explaining. Yeah, no worries. So, for instance, the winter bears. Oh, am I breaking up still?
No, you're good.
You're good.
Yep, I think I'm offline. I don't know if y'all can hear me.
It broke up. You're good, and then it broke up.
Yeah. I think the one more thing I'll add is, even if you kind of divorce everything from the game, the token, or the MMO, our main MO is you can, mint and buy ERC 721 NFTs or ERC 1155 NFTs with this token that you earn for free by staking your seal. So just as a currency to create more NFTs and for you to have a bigger wallet of cool NFTs, I think that in itself is really, really cool. Let alone you'll be able to use those NFTs in game to add new elements and new gameplay inside of our universe. Just adds more utility, which is super, super exciting. I think people just want more NFTs anyway. People are buying, garbage on OpenSea right now for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. So the fact that, you can earn as you stake and just use that to get awesome NFTs, I think that's really, really compelling.
Yeah. Sounds like there's a lot of things coming for, the Sappy seals and the Pixelverse. So is there an estimated time on when Pixelverse will be released, or is there a beta and alpha?
Yeah, so I think we just released Alpha V1 for seal holders of over 5 seals last night. We have a few people that are play testing basically what we call our igloo functionality, which is your little home base in the Pixelverse. So that's coming. We also have our roadmap, which we released a few I think it was like last week. I can drop that in chat. But yeah, that has all of our projected dates and when we're thinking about. I think Alpha V2 is. Let me look at the roadmap. I don't want to say some bullshit, but
Yeah.
let's see.
Cass, you need to
Alpha,
add Cass back into the call, I believe.
yeah, Alpha V2 we have for December, and we want to start with Pixelverse Open World in Q1. What's up, Cass?
What's
Okay,
up?
so in
Sorry,
Q1, you should be able to walk around Pixelverse with your avatar online, and then in Q2, we wanted to release the actual pets arena, like gameplay side of it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you talked about the carbon footprint, and I know that you recently did a donation for. I don't know what it was, but it was something related to the oceans. Do you want to talk more about that? Seems like you
Yeah.
guys really care about the environment, and I know that's a huge deal for a lot of people. So.
Yep. Yeah. So we already did. We kind of didn't even announce it. It was just a random $50K donation to the ocean cleanup, and we have a scheduled donation that we are putting a drive together for, so we can hopefully raise even more. And we obviously intend to be able to drive a lot of profits from the Pixelverse as well, and that also in the future will be able to be directed towards. We really like the ocean cleanup initiative personally. I think it fits really well within the seals, and the clean water initiative is close to all of our hearts. So, but the community at that point would get to decide kind of where they wanted to put those donations. And I'm advising on another NFT project that's purely charity based right now, and I turn down every advisory request I have right now because I'm too swamped. But those kinds of things I make room for.
That's awesome. So is this going to be like an annual thing, or is just whenever there's money in the treasury, you will just go for it?
It's going to be essentially, we see it like there's just a little trickle right now, just a little bit of water moving, and eventually that'll turn into a stream, a torrent, just a river basically. And at that point, with the Pixelverse being that revenue stream, at that point we anticipate being able to direct significant funds in perpetuity.
And I think it's also about establishing a really strong culture around giving back, such that as a founding team we can make donations every so often, but we also want to make sure that our holders are giving back and being conscious with their money and their decisions, as they represent our brand, right? One thing that happened recently is Mogilla Gorilla, who is one of our Discord mods, recently went to the local children's hospital, brought a bunch of food for the nurses, decked them out in Sappy Seals gear, doing a similar donation drive for the Chicago FD Fire Department, which has been really, really cool to see. And like using our brand and our holders as a real means for good is going to be a huge part of our continued success, and ultimately a huge part for spreading more good and spreading more joy, which is a big part of our mission.
Community first does not just mean Sappy Seals individually. It's the entire NFT community and the communities that we all are involved in our real lives as well.
To add on, sorry, go.
That's a great mindset to have. Like that's something I noticed with Axie. A lot of the big content creators will do giveaways and they'll give out scholarships, and people will see that they're successful doing it. So even if they're being greedy, or maybe they're not coming from a place of greed, either way, they're giving to other people, and that's amazing. And I think Sappy Seals can do that too inside the the PFP space. I think
there's so many people in the NFT communities that want to do that and have that energy behind them. And something I'm looking into and I'm really excited by is the idea of incentivizing that kind of philanthropy within the Pixelverse as well. We're looking at sort of different systems to do that in terms of, can we reward players for giving back in some way?
I think I'm going to save a portion of my Pixel to do giveaways.
That's what we want. I want you to be able to do that. I really want you to do that.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
It's a good idea. We might have to do that ourselves.
Yeah,
for sure. Cool. I like that.
Are there
Yeah,
any other? Sorry.
No, please.
So, are there any other NFT projects that inspire you the most? Like you wake up and you're like, "Oh, this project is doing something very cool. Maybe we can incorporate it into Pixelverse or Sappy Seals in our own way." Has that ever happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'm inspired by so many projects. My collection is probably has 200 plus different projects.
Wow.
Everything from, and I was just talking about about this with my nephew yesterday morning because he's really into art and these things, and he'll come onto the spaces and things, and he'll be scared to speak up, you know.
Yeah.
And I just told him, I was like, there's this Belugas project. There's a 14-year-old gal, and she just threw it together and got it. And it's like, that's the kind of shit that gets me up. Like, it's the fact that, we're innovating, empowering artists, we're empowering, community members, even gamers, and it's projects like that are community first, that are changing the paradigm that get me really interested. The internet's a tool for, I want to say decentralization, but it's just a word that fits best. It's a decentralization. It's like you don't need to play for the best school in the States or the best school in your country in order to be seen. Just throw your own highlight reel up on Huddle, and be signed on with some Division I program. It's like my buddy, my nephew Dennis yesterday. I was like, you don't need to be anything other than you are. Just grab your iPad and throw some dope art together. I'll throw it up into some NFTs and let the world see it and do with it what they will. I think that's the stuff that inspires me. And I think that's what we're doing right here in the Pixelverse. That's why I gave up. I've been working for years to get into the VC space, and I was offered an opportunity of a lifetime, in my opinion, to be a managing partner for an NFT incubator. But that put me at a crossroads, and I chose this way for a reason. I want to be involved in the building. I want to be involved in the innovation. I want to be involved in giving people access to something really cool.
Yeah. It's a more exciting path since this is like your baby, so it's amazing. Yeah. Which leads me to my next question: how has NFTs changed your life?
I'm more passionate than I've ever been. I've been in crypto for a half decade. Like I said, I grinded in the VC space. I loved it. It gave me the footing to be where I am. It gave me the understanding of the space to be able to add value. But I've never woke up more passionate. I'm not joking. I mean, this is obviously more uncertain than being like a managing partner for an NFT incubator, but I don't give a shit, man. I wake up and I am excited to be doing what I'm doing, and NFTs are at the heart of that.
Yeah. It's Gunga, do you want to go?
No, that's awesome.
I can go. I wanted to also add on that last question some projects that like inspire me. I think the first big inspiration that I had that even got me into buying an NFT is a project called Crypto Raiders, which is a smaller kind of Polygon-based project where you buy your little raiders and you can put them on quests, and just to see how quickly that small team was able to build something playable and usable with utility. That's ultimately what kept me buying NFTs, and brought me to Sappy Seals eventually, and all that stuff. So just quick shout out to them, because I think what they're doing is really, really cool. I mean, in terms of like, how NFTs have affected me, just the amount of people that I've been able to meet has been so cool. Beyond like, flipping and making a little bit of money and all this and that and collecting the art. I think really what's the most compelling part is the people that you meet, being able to work together with our founding team for Pixelverse and driving value for Sappy Seals has been so much fun, more so than as much as I think this could be a really good financial opportunity for us, for the Seals holders, for Winter Bears holders, for 24px holders, for people who are staking and farming Pixel. I think more so than anything. A quote that always really stuck with me is Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo once said, like, if it's not fun, why bother? Yeah. So I think as much as we can play and earn, we also want to play and have fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Hence the reason we do not say play to earn around our teams. It's like, for real.
I wonder which one's going to win out.
Yeah, I had this conversation actually with a fund that was entirely dedicated to NFT NYC to play to earn, and I was asking about play and earn versus play to earn, and it is such a fun, slight nuance difference, but it's so important of a difference for a lot of games right now, and I think people haven't quite wrapped their heads around that, the slight nuance there.
I can tell you that's why we haven't raised VC money. We have all the connections to do it, but we've chose to stay indie, like real grassroots. Nobody on this team is salaried. There is no team, just a bunch of contractors and community members that love what they're doing. We want to keep our feet right on the ground below us. And we think that by staying grassroots and fundraising from the community that we're building for and listening and being a part of that community, that we'll get to keep that play first and foremost always. We don't have to concede any of that to anybody else for profits or any other reason. And in the long run, we think those are the people that will win the race. We're the tortoise.
Yeah.
Tortoise. And for everybody tuning in right now, subscribe on Twitch, follow both Sappy Seals and SandStorm Meetup on Twitter. Be sure to be joined on both Discords. There's a giveaway right now on Twitter. Hopefully one of the moderators can be dropping that in the chats, where we're giving away a Sappy Seal that looks like a can of sriracha. It's absolute fire. That seal is amazing. But yeah, everybody joining, be sure to subscribe and follow that link to the giveaway. Just wanted to chime in real quick.
I gotta see the seal. I gotta seal the. Oh my god, I can't even speak. I gotta see the seal now. Does that even make sense? I'm sorry, it's like 1 a.m. over here. I can barely speak. But yeah, Steve, do you have any questions?
Yeah, there's a few questions from the community that we've gotten over the past couple of days, as well as in the chat right now. Breeding. What is the plan for breeding? And can you talk us through the kind of mechanics there?
We can't talk through the exact mechanics we have planned, but I can talk you through where we're trying to go with it.
Sure.
We've looked at kind of existing projects, Axie and Zed, and we've kind of seen the community's reaction. So the people who are really into breeding get into it on quite a deep level. And what we've sensed is that, especially, well, I won't name names, but we've sensed that there's a bit of dissatisfaction with the simplicity of some of the breeding algorithms. We would really like to flesh out the complexity of that, really build a system that just, blows your mind away, and lean into that while still trying to keep it intuitive on a basic level. You take two things, you breed them together, and it comes out. So it's going to look like the regular kind of breeding you'd expect, but we want to have it like mathematically be very complex and have something that people can dig into, people can build community tools, and basically play as its own game. Yeah. I wish I could share more than that now, but that's coming in Medium articles within the next month or so, month and a half. So we'll publish that soon.
Very cool. I like the fair launch approach you guys are doing with the staking the seals for the token itself. I think that is very kind of in line with the community first approach and the fundraising approach, where you guys are basically allowing everybody the same equal opportunity to get access. I think that's something that a lot of projects misstep on, I feel like, in this space, where it's just kind of a quick money grab. But you guys have laid out that you're doing this the long run. You're doing a fair release of this token. And once that token's out there, it's such a cool mechanic to add into all this, because you got giveaways, all these cool new engagements in the community, similar to like a Subducks with Volt. It's really cool to watch all that, and bananas with Kongs and everything. It's really unique to add that in.
Am I back from my rug?
You are back. Yeah, no, I'll just say on behalf. Like, thank you for that. And that is definitely a conversation we had to have, and a discussion we had, and we made sure, like, no, this is exactly how we want to present ourselves, and this is how we want things to be, not to make any of those missteps.
Well, often
Cass was a huge pusher of that.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a lot of VC connects that were asking me even in DMs, like, hey, so you're doing a token raise, this and that, what's up? It's like, I'm sorry, but I don't think so yet, because I don't want to give up those most valuable assets to those people. And I love those people, and I hope to work with them in the future, potentially, if it's a good fit for everybody. But when you raise that kind of capital up front without going to the community, You give up those most valuable assets. You give up like first generation productive assets in the Pixelverse. You give up massive tranches of tokens, and it just kind of it's not the angle we're taking. It's just not. And I think that's plays back to the heart of it earlier. And you're like, why are the seals so active? Why do we care so much? Because that's at the heart of what we're doing. And I think the more we just keep doing that, slow and steady, building with that, keeping our values, the more we're going to grow and the more we're all going to benefit.
Yeah. And there's a question from Ugly Wook in the chat. Will we be able to use Pixel on the Pixel marketplace to buy NFTs like 24px?
That's the goal. So for instance, Winter Bears is talking about doing some art drops and things on the marketplace. Right off the bat, we've got a kind of a really badass rotation of highly productive assets for the Pixelverse, all with Pixel token. So the Pixelverse Founders Pass will be available. That's going to have a ton of utility and perpetuity in the Pixelverse. Arcade games are just for fun, obviously, and those are going to be individually created arcade games that are limited, and you can put anywhere across the Pixelverse, all the way down to what we're referring to as something like a Pixelverse headquarters or a Pixelverse palace that you could make into your own really cool like headquarters for your community if you're an influencer, or you could even make into like a casino or an arcade to make it a highly productive asset for Pixelverse and to continue driving Pixel back into your own wallet, utilizing that. So yeah, and it's all with Pixel. That's the goal, as well as discounts and things on Genesis Pets Mints in the future with Pixel. Like our goal is to drive value, not value, say again, is to drive utility back to Pixel. Utility. So the Pixel marketplace is at the heart of that.
Nice. Another question in the chat is if Effie is single. That is
hey, no, man, I've got him.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Not on the market.
No, he's mine.
Maybe for the right pixel price.
Whatever they're offering you, Effie, I'll double it.
And for everybody watching right now, drop some questions in the chat for these guys while we have everybody here. This is a great opportunity to get your questions answered real quick. There is a question here. Is there a Seal Vox version sandbox experience? We did kind of talk about this a little bit previously, but if anybody wants to add something there.
I've got something to add there.
Okay.
It ties in with the previous question. It's like why we chose 2D, why we chose pixels. And I think a lot of it is about time frames. We kind of looked at the space. We thought about doing 3D first. We were looking at the sandbox. That's why it's top of our priority list, is it was among our original ideas for what we're building. We decided to go for 2D because of the belief that we can scale out that project at a much faster rate, hit a better time in the market. So there's like a window right now where if you can put out a really strong product, it will be hugely successful. It will draw in a lot of user base, and it's a longer term thing for the 3D products to start coming out. You'll start seeing 3D, like live 3D metaverses, but they may struggle to be pushing out the kind of functionality you could achieve if you were just working in 2D. So yeah, so how does that? What was the original?
100%. Yes,
Sorry,
you'll have your voxel and your 2D component. Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah.
You're going into some of those details, and that's important. But yes, it's backwards compatibility is important. Your pixel will be voxel and your 2D avatar.
Well, I think right now there currently isn't a way within Sandbox to say, oh, I own this other random NFT, give me some sort of utility within Sandbox. And I think once that type of hookup exists, then we'll be able to build a lot more within Sandboxes. I think, as we've said, like the ecosystem is really, really great. The controls are snappy. It seems fun. We have community members like AU24K, who's in the chat right now, who actually built the Vox seal. And we have that Vox seal that exists, but like, we also want to be able to tie it back to our actual PFP collection, right? Like, how will we be able to play as my Sappy seal within Sandbox versus right now I can play as a seal that I can maybe purchase with Sand but we think that we also want to drive real value and real linked value between the existing assets that we have and, of course, Pixel token. So, once Sandbox says, okay, you can use Pixel, okay, here's how we can integrate within PFP projects. Of course, we're going to want to use that. But right now, we really want to drive on delivering value for seals, for our community member holders, and for Pixel token, of course.
Cool. I think that's the majority of the questions from the community. I wanted to do a little special one at the end, just to go through each of you guys, Effie Gunga and Crypto Cass. What is one project that's doing it right, in your opinion? Like through and through, done it right, other than you guys, of course. But what is one project, each of you guys, if you could pick one, that you've seen crush it and is still doing well in the space?
I'll start easy. Kongs. Yeah,
Kongs.
They're driving real utility. They've planned ahead of time for their 2D and 3D potential integrations. They have awesome utility. They've got liquidity, a fervent community, and an intention to bring that utility back into their community through their metaverse expansion. I think they're doing it. I love Kongs.
Same. Yeah.
I think, Kongs also, it's insane that there's still like a 5 ETH floor in this economy. Banana has been doing well, which is great. I already mentioned Crypto Raiders, which I think is really, really good. But like, I'm going to go another kind of curveball here and like say Atom Bomb Squad is actually a pretty nutsy project. Like it's at 0.17 floor right now, which is absolutely bananas. It's insane. And the ability to kind of hedge it against a real, world streetwear brand is just super, super strong to me. I have a good amount of little bombs. And I think for them to be, this cheap right now, with this much real world like linkage to existing brands, I think is a really, really strong buy and a strong project moving forward.
Yeah, sure. I've got to echo Kongs straight away, but also, and I'll throw my own curveball, which is that I'm quite interested in a lot of the sort of small real world artists who are moving over to NFTs and exploring that space. And there's this very small indie studio, London based, called Tom Fry Studio. A really big fan of the way in which he's translating his work into the digital space. But it's a very small project at the moment. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, Kongs is a big time sponsor of the SandStorm. They're building an experience in the SandStorm HQ. Love the Council of Kongs. They're amazing. I went to their rooftop party in New York this past week.
Nice.
And met some pretty wild Kongs. One guy I met had I think it was 10 Genesis, which is just kind of bonkers to think about. But a lot of really awesome people in that community. So definitely, I echo that. How about you, Professor?
So I think I would have to say CyberKongs are doing it right. And about Atom Bomb Squad, I feel like I've asked myself, why is this project so cheap? Like, surely this is such a good long-term hold. But I think maybe I'm wrong, but maybe the main reason is because it's a 25,000 collection and not a 10,000. So it drives, it scares away the flipper mentality. That's what I think.
Yeah, for sure. Like 25K is insane for a total supply. But like, I do think that, I think that's kind of their angle, is that they want it to be more of a commodity that a lot of people can have.
Accessible.
Yeah. Versus like the utility or the, I'm blanking on the word, but like, yeah, the opposite of it's limited supply, right? More exclusive, right? It's not trying to be exclusive. But I guess there's exclusivity baked in anyway because of rarity. So I still really, really like that project.
Kind of a Mooncats problem. Obviously the 2017 Mooncats are different, but they suffer from a similar issue. Super historic, awesome project. I love them.
Yeah.
But the price doesn't reflect that often, but it doesn't mean that the project isn't absolutely doing it.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit too much of a hyper focus on lower time frame prices in this space sometimes, because there's a lot of gambling and speculating and short term perspectives. But to me, that the price doesn't necessarily indicate I hope it does. Obviously, the Kongs is a perfect example of it. The market valuing a project, but something like Mooncats, Atom Bomb Squad and things, I think they kind of defy that long term.
Yeah,
That's why they're undervalued.
If you look at the top 10 crypto coins from 2017, and you look at them now, it's completely different, and the same thing's gonna happen with NFTs in 4 years. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna be accumulating throughout the bear market. I'm hyped.
Accumulate and build.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, those are all the questions I have for you guys. Professor, I think, are those all the questions you have? Are we wrapping it up?
Mhm.
All right.
Wrap it up.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. The links are on Twitter. Follow Sappy, Sappy Seals, follow SandStorm, join the Discords, become parts of the community. We're going to be here. I know these guys are going to be here. This won't be the first time you see Sappy Seals on SandStorm. We're going to have these guys back definitely once we get into the metaverse and get 3D. But thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
This is a great.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Really
Thank
well
you.
done. Appreciate you.
Have a great evening. Have a great day for everyone watching, and don't forget to stake your seal. Not financial.
Let's go. Peace, y'all.